Commander Lisa Chen stood in the vast crystalline chamber of the Zentari space station. The walls sparkled like diamonds under the artificial lights. After 6 long months, her mission was finally complete. The peace treaty between Earth and the Zentari Empire lay signed and sealed in the diplomatic archives. No more Cold War, no more fear of invasion, just peace. Lisa adjusted her blue Earth uniform and checked her departure schedule. The transport ship would arrive in 2 hours. Soon she would be heading home to Earth, to her small apartment overlooking the Pacific Ocean. She could almost taste the fresh air and feel the warm sand between her toes. But something felt wrong. Something felt incomplete. The Zentari station buzzed with activity around her. Hundreds of insectoid beings moved through the corridors with precise mechanical steps. Their shiny black bodies reflected the crystal walls. 6 legs carried them in perfect formation. Their large compound eyes never showed emotion. Their antennae twitched only to detect chemical signals in the air. Lisa had learned much about the Zentari during her stay. They were a logical species. Everything they did followed rules and patterns. They made decisions based on data and efficiency. Emotions were foreign to them. They saw human feelings as a weakness, a flaw in design. Yet somehow Lisa had managed to negotiate a peace treaty with them. While other human diplomats had failed for decades, she had succeeded. The secret was not in matching their logic, but in showing them something different. She had shown them patience when they made impossible demands. She had shown them humor when tensions ran high. She had shown them kindness when they expected coldness. Most importantly, she had shown them respect. The other human diplomats thought she was crazy. "You cannot reason with machines," they said. "You cannot touch hearts that do not exist." But Lisa believed differently. She believed that every intelligent being had something deeper inside, something that logic alone could not explain. The main diplomatic hall was now empty. The Zentari officials had retreated to their chambers, following standard protocol. When humans departed, the Zentari always withdrew. They saw no point in emotional farewells. Logic dictated that once business was complete, further interaction was unnecessary. Lisa walked to the large viewing window that showed the starfield beyond. Earth was somewhere out there, a tiny blue dot in the vast darkness. She pressed her hand against the cool crystal surface and smiled. Home felt so close now. "Commander Chen." Lisa turned around surprised. A single Zentari stood in the doorway. It was Kixna, her primary liaison during the negotiations. Kixna had been assigned to work with Lisa from the first day. Together they had spent countless hours in meeting rooms, reviewing documents and discussing treaty terms. But Kixna looked different now. Her antennae were twitching in an unusual pattern. Her compound eyes seemed to dart around nervously. Her 6 legs shifted weight from side to side. Lisa had never seen a Zentari display such behavior. "Kixna," Lisa said with a warm smile. "I thought all the officials had withdrawn for the day." "They have," Kixna replied through her translation device. The mechanical voice carried an odd tone, something that sounded almost like uncertainty. "I came here against protocol." Lisa raised an eyebrow. The Zentari never broke protocol. It was against their nature. Everything they did followed precise rules and procedures. For Kixna to be here meant something significant was happening. "Is there a problem with the treaty?" Lisa asked. "Do we need to review something?" "No," Kixna said quickly. "The treaty is complete. All terms are acceptable to both parties. There are no outstanding issues." Lisa studied Kixna's body language. During her months on the station, she had learned to read Zentari signals better than most humans. Kixna was definitely agitated about something. But what could make a logical being act so strangely? "Then why are you here?" Lisa asked gently. Kixna moved closer to the viewing window. Her 6 legs made soft clicking sounds on the crystal floor. She stood beside Lisa and looked out at the stars. For a long moment, neither spoke. "I have been observing you," Kixna said finally. "For 6 months I have watched your methods. I have studied your approaches to problem solving. I have analyzed your emotional responses to various situations." Lisa nodded. She knew the Zentari had been studying her. It was natural for them to try to understand human behavior. Knowledge was power in their society. "Your techniques are illogical," Kixna continued. "When we presented unreasonable demands, you did not become angry. You listened carefully and found creative solutions. When we questioned human motives, you did not defend with facts alone. You shared personal stories. When we tested your patience, you responded with humor. Those are just normal human behaviors, Lisa said. We call it diplomacy. But it should not work, Kixna said, her antennae twitching faster. Logic dictates that the most efficient path to agreement is through data exchange and rational analysis. Yet your emotional methods achieved better results than our logical approaches ever could. Lisa smiled. This was not the first time someone had questioned her diplomatic style. Many of her human colleagues preferred the traditional approach of facts, figures, and formal presentations, but Lisa had learned that connecting with people on an emotional level often opened doors that logic could not. Sometimes the heart knows things that the mind cannot understand, Lisa said softly. Kixna turned to face her. Explain this concept. How can an organ that pumps blood possess knowledge? Lisa laughed, a warm sound that echoed in the crystal chamber. It is just an expression. We mean that emotions can guide us toward truths that pure logic might miss. This is what I do not understand, Kixna said. For months I have tried to analyze your emotional responses using logical frameworks. I have categorized your facial expressions, measured your vocal patterns, and documented your behavioral changes. Yet the data does not explain the effectiveness of your methods. Lisa watched Kixna carefully. Something was happening here that went beyond a simple scientific inquiry. The Zentari was struggling with something deeper. Perhaps some things cannot be understood through analysis alone, Lisa suggested. Perhaps some things must be experienced. Kixna's antennae stopped twitching. Her compound eyes focused directly on Lisa. Experienced, she repeated slowly. This word has new meaning for me now. Lisa felt her heart skip a beat. There was something in Kixna's tone that was different from before. Something that sounded almost human. What do you mean? Lisa asked. Kixna looked back out at the stars. 3 months ago, you made an error during negotiations. You miscalculated the shipping costs for grain exports. The mistake would have cost Earth millions of credits. Do you remember? Lisa nodded. It had been an embarrassing moment. She had mixed up 2 currency conversion rates and proposed a number that was far too low. I detected your error immediately, Kixna continued. Protocol dictated that I should point out the mistake and use it to gain advantage in negotiations. This is what any logical being would do. But you did not, Lisa said, remembering. You waited until after the session and told me privately. Yes, Kixna said. I told you in private so you could correct the error without losing face in front of the other negotiators. This action served no logical purpose. It gained no advantage for my people. It was inefficient and contrary to my programming. Lisa felt a warm feeling in her chest. She had always wondered why Kixna had been so helpful that day. Why did you do it? Lisa asked. Kixna's legs shifted nervously. I do not know. The decision happened before I could analyze it. Something inside me chose to help you instead of exploit your weakness. This should not be possible. Lisa stared at Kixna in amazement. What the Zentari was describing sounded like an emotional response, but that was supposed to be impossible for their species. There have been other incidents, Kixna continued. When you told stories about your childhood, I experienced sensations I cannot explain. When you laughed at my questions, I felt something pleasant inside. When you showed pictures of Earth's oceans, I had a desire to see them myself. These responses serve no logical function. Lisa's heart began racing. She was witnessing something incredible, something that could change everything between their species. Kixna, she said carefully. It sounds like you are describing emotions. Impossible, Kixna said quickly. My species evolved beyond such inefficiencies millions of years ago. We eliminated emotional responses through selective breeding and genetic modification. We are creatures of pure logic. But what if emotions are not inefficiencies? Lisa asked. What if they are another form of intelligence? Kixna turned to face her again. Explain. Lisa took a deep breath. This was important. She needed to help Kixna understand what was happening to her. On Earth, we have learned that emotions help us make better decisions, Lisa said. They help us understand others. They help us see possibilities that logic alone might miss. They help us create new solutions to old problems. But emotions cause errors in judgment, Kixna said. They lead to irrational behavior and poor choices. Sometimes, Lisa agreed. But they also lead to art, music, poetry, and love. They help us form bonds with others. They give meaning to our lives beyond mere survival. Kixna was quiet for a long moment. Her antennae moved in slow, thoughtful patterns. During our negotiations, she said finally, I began to understand your emotional responses, not through analysis but through direct experience. When you became frustrated, I felt the desire to help. When you smiled, I experienced pleasure. When you seemed sad, I wanted to comfort you. Lisa felt tears forming in her eyes. This was beautiful and profound. A member of a purely logical species was discovering emotions for the first time. These new experiences have changed me, Kixna continued. I find myself thinking about concepts that have no logical purpose. Beauty, friendship, wonder, hope. I look at the stars and feel something I cannot name. Those are very human feelings. Lisa said softly. Yes, Kixna said, and this terrifies me. Lisa reached out and gently touched Kixna's arm. The Zentari did not pull away. Change can be frightening, Lisa said, but it can also be wonderful. You are discovering a whole new way of experiencing the universe. Kixna looked down at Lisa's hand on her arm. Your species has this ability to connect with others through physical contact. I never understood its purpose before. Now I think I begin to see. They stood together in comfortable silence, looking out at the stars. Lisa could feel the importance of this moment. Something extraordinary was happening, something that could reshape the relationship between their species. The sound of approaching footsteps broke the spell. Another Zentari appeared in the doorway. It was Haxtor, the station commander. Kixna, Haxtor said in the mechanical translation voice. You are required in the central chamber. Departure protocol must be observed. Kixna straightened up. Understood, Commander. But she did not move immediately. Instead, she turned back to Lisa. Her compound eyes seemed to study the human woman's face with new intensity. Commander Chen, Kixna said, her voice carrying that strange new tone again. Your transport arrives soon. You will return to Earth and resume your normal life. This assignment will become a memory. Yes, Lisa said, though the thought made her sad. She had grown attached to this place and to Kixna during their time together. Kixna moved closer. Her antennae twitched in that nervous pattern again. Before you leave, she said quietly. May I tell you something? Lisa's heart began racing again. Something important was about to happen. She could feel it in the air between them. Of course, Lisa said. What is it? But before Kixna could respond, Haxtor stepped forward impatiently. Kixna, departure protocol requires immediate compliance. The human's personal effects must be processed and her security clearance must be revoked. There is no time for unnecessary conversation. Kixna looked at Haxtor, then back at Lisa. Her antennae drooped slightly. I understand, she said to Haxtor. Then to Lisa. Perhaps we will speak again before your departure. Lisa nodded, though something inside her whispered that this might be their last private moment together. As Kixna followed Haxtor out of the chamber, she looked back once at Lisa. In that glance, Lisa saw something that made her breath catch. She saw longing. She saw regret. She saw the unmistakable look of someone who had more to say but could not find the words. Lisa remained by the viewing window, her heart still racing from their conversation. Something profound had just happened. Kixna was changing, evolving, becoming something new, and whatever she wanted to tell Lisa before departure was clearly important. The transport would arrive in less than 2 hours. Lisa hoped she would see Kixna again before then. She had a feeling that whatever the Zentari wanted to share would change everything. As she looked out at the stars, Lisa smiled. Her mission had been to negotiate a peace treaty, but perhaps she had accomplished something even more significant. Perhaps she had helped awaken something beautiful in a species that had forgotten how to feel. The question was, what would Kixna do with these new emotions? And what did she want to tell Lisa before the human returned to Earth? Time would tell. But Lisa had a feeling that this was just the beginning of something extraordinary. Lisa Chen sat in her temporary quarters aboard the Zentari station. Her bags were packed and ready. In 1 hour, the Earth transport would dock and take her home. She should have been excited, but instead she felt restless and worried. She kept thinking about Kixna and their conversation by the viewing window. The Zentari had been trying to tell her something important when Commander Haxtor interrupted them. Lisa had hoped to see Kixna again before departure, but 3 hours had passed with no word. A soft chime sounded at her door. Lisa's heart jumped with hope. Enter, she called out. The door slid open, but instead of Kixna, a young Zentari technician stepped inside. His name tag read Zefko, He carried a data pad and moved with the typical mechanical precision of his species. "Commander Chen," Zefko said through his translator. "I am here to conduct your final departure scan. Please remain still while I verify your identity and security clearance." Lisa nodded and stood up. The scanning process took only a few minutes. Red light swept over her body, confirming her biological signature and checking for any classified materials. "Scan complete," Zefko announced. "You are cleared for departure. Please proceed to Docking Bay 7 in 30 minutes. "Thank you," Lisa said. But as Zefko turned to leave, she called out to him. "Wait, do you know where Kixna is?" "I was hoping to say goodbye." Zefko paused. His antennae twitched slightly. "Kixna is currently in the medical bay undergoing evaluation." Lisa felt a surge of concern. "Medical evaluation? Is she hurt?" "Not hurt," Zefko said carefully. "But she has been displaying unusual behavioral patterns. The medical staff is conducting tests to determine the cause." Lisa's heart sank. She had a terrible feeling that Kixna's emotional awakening was being treated as a malfunction that needed to be fixed. "What kind of unusual behavior?" Lisa asked. Zefko looked around nervously as if checking to make sure they were alone. Then he stepped closer to Lisa. "Kixna has been asking questions," he said quietly. "Strange questions about things that have no logical purpose. She asked about human music. She asked about the feeling of rain on skin. She asked why humans keep pictures of deceased family members. Those are normal curiosities," Lisa said. "Not for us," Zefko replied. "We do not experience curiosity about inefficient concepts." But Kixna seems unable to stop herself. She also displayed emotional responses during questioning. Her antennae moved in patterns we have never documented. Her vocal stress indicators suggested she was experiencing what humans call distress. Lisa felt her chest tighten with worry. Are they going to hurt her? "The medical team believes she has developed a malfunction in her logic centers," Zefko said. "They are preparing to reset her neural pathways to factory specifications." "Reset?" Lisa gasped. "You mean erase everything that makes her unique?" Zefko's compound eyes seemed to study Lisa's face. "You display concern for Kixna's welfare. This is interesting. Humans form emotional attachments even to non-human individuals. Of course I care about her," Lisa said. "She is my friend." "Friend," Zefko repeated slowly. "Another concept I do not fully understand, but I have observed the positive effects of Kixna's changes. During your negotiations, her new approaches led to better outcomes than pure logic would have achieved." Lisa looked at Zefko with surprise. "You noticed that too?" "Yes," Zefko said. "Kixna began suggesting creative solutions that no Zentari had ever conceived. She anticipated human emotional needs and adapted our proposals accordingly. The success rate improved by 37%. Then why reset her?" Lisa asked. "Why remove something that works better?" Zefko was quiet for a moment. "Because it frightens us," he said finally. "Change is dangerous. What if these new patterns spread to others? What if our entire society becomes infected with inefficiency?" Lisa realized she was witnessing something remarkable. Zefko was also beginning to question his species' rigid ways. The change was already spreading. "Where is the medical bay?" Lisa asked suddenly. "Level 5, Section C," Zefko replied. "But humans are not permitted in that area." Lisa grabbed her uniform jacket and headed for the door. "I have diplomatic immunity. They cannot stop me from visiting a colleague." Zefko followed her into the corridor. "Commander Chen, what are you planning to do?" "I am going to help my friend," Lisa said firmly. They moved quickly through the crystal corridors of the station. Other Zentari they passed paid them no attention. Lisa's heart pounded as they reached the medical bay. Through the transparent walls she could see Kixna lying on an examination table. Several medical technicians surrounded her preparing equipment. Lisa burst through the entrance without ceremony. "Stop what you are doing immediately." The medical technicians turned in surprise. Dr. Vex High, the chief medical officer, approached with obvious irritation. "Human, you have no authority here," Dr. Vex High said. "This is a medical procedure to correct a dangerous malfunction." "Kixna is not malfunctioning," Lisa said firmly. "She is evolving." "Impossible," Dr. Vex High replied. "Evolution takes millions of years. What you describe is system corruption that must be eliminated." Lisa moved to Kixna's side. The Zentari looked up at her with those familiar compound eyes. But now Lisa could see something in them that she had never seen before. Fear. "Lisa," Kixna said weakly, "you should not be here." You will miss your transport. I am not leaving without you, Lisa said, taking Kixna's hand. Dr. Vex High stepped forward. Human attachment behavior will not prevent this procedure. The decision has been made by the High Council. Then let me speak to them, Lisa said. As Earth's representative, I have the right to address concerns about the treaty implementation. This matter does not involve the treaty, Dr. Vex High said. It involves my diplomatic liaison, Lisa countered. Kixna's knowledge and experience are essential for ongoing Earth-Zentari relations. Any changes to her mental state could affect future cooperation. Dr. Vex High paused. Legal complications were something the Zentari took very seriously. You have 15 minutes, Dr. Vex High said finally. Then the procedure will commence regardless of your objections. As the medical staff withdrew to prepare their equipment, Lisa leaned close to Kixna. What did you want to tell me before? Lisa whispered urgently. What was so important? Kixna's antennae moved in slow, sad patterns. It no longer matters. Soon I will return to my previous state. These new experiences will be erased. Tell me anyway, Lisa insisted. Please. Kixna looked into Lisa's eyes. I wanted to tell you that you have given me the greatest gift in the universe. You have shown me how to feel wonder. Lisa felt tears forming. That is beautiful, Kixna. But there is more, Kixna continued. The changes in me are not random. I have been analyzing the process. The emotions I experience follow patterns. They serve functions that logic alone cannot provide. What do you mean? Lisa asked. When I felt concern for your welfare, it motivated me to find better solutions to our negotiations. When I experienced curiosity about human culture, it opened new pathways of understanding. When I felt joy at your laughter, it created positive associations that improved our working relationship. Lisa's eyes widened. You are saying emotions are not weaknesses but tools for better problem solving. Exactly, Kixna said. But it goes even deeper. I have discovered something that will revolutionize how we understand intelligence itself. What is it? Lisa asked breathlessly. Kixna struggled to sit up on the examination table. 3 days ago, our engineering team faced an impossible problem. Our primary power core was developing microfractures that could not be repaired using traditional methods. Every logical approach failed. What happened? I suggested we try a completely new approach, Kixna said. Instead of fighting the fractures, we could work with them. Use them as part of the design rather than seeing them as flaws. The idea came to me while I was experiencing what you would call melancholy. The emotion helped me see beauty in brokenness. Lisa gasped. Did it work? Not only did it work, but it improved power efficiency by 23%, Kixna said. A problem that stumped our best logical minds for months was solved in hours using emotional intelligence. Lisa realized the enormous implications of what Kixna was telling her. You have proven that emotions enhance rather than diminish intelligent problem-solving. Yes, Kixna said. But the High Council sees this as contamination rather than advancement. They believe I have been corrupted by prolonged exposure to human thinking patterns. Lisa felt a surge of determination. We have to show them they are wrong. At that moment, Commander Haxtor entered the medical bay. Commander Chen, your transport has arrived. You must depart immediately. I am not leaving, Lisa said firmly. You have no choice, Haxtor replied. Your diplomatic mission is complete. You have no further authority here. Lisa looked at Kixna, then at the medical equipment being prepared nearby. An idea began forming in her mind. Actually, I do have authority, Lisa said. Article 12 of our new peace treaty states that any discoveries made during joint operations must be shared between both governments before implementation. Haxtor's antennae twitched with confusion. What discovery? Kixna has made a breakthrough in intelligence research, Lisa said. She has discovered how emotional responses can enhance logical problem solving. This represents a major advancement in cognitive science. Emotional responses are corruptions, not advancements, Haxtor said. Then why did they solve your power core problem? Lisa challenged. Why did they improve our negotiation success rate? Why are they producing better results than pure logic? Haxtor was silent. Other Zentari in the medical bay had stopped their work to listen. Lisa pressed her advantage. If you reset Kixna's neural pathways, you will lose this discovery forever. Earth scientists will be very interested to learn that you chose to destroy valuable research rather than study it. You are bluffing, Haxtor said. Contact Earth Command and ask them, Lisa replied. They are expecting a full report on all scientific discoveries made during this mission. If I report that you destroyed evidence of enhanced intelligence capabilities, it could affect our trade agreements. Haxtor looked uncertain. The Zentari valued their new economic partnerships with Earth. Dr. Vex-High stepped forward. Commander, the neural reset procedure must proceed. Every moment we delay increases the risk of the corruption spreading to other individuals. What if it is not corruption? Zefko said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at the young technician. What if it is evolution in real time? Impossible, Dr. Vex-High said, is it? Zefko asked. Kixna's problem-solving abilities have improved dramatically. Her social interaction skills have enhanced. Her creative thinking has expanded beyond previous limitations. These are positive changes, not negative ones. Lisa noticed that other Zentari in the medical bay were nodding slightly. Kixna's transformation was having an effect on all of them. I have also experienced unusual thoughts recently. Another technician admitted quietly. Questions about concepts that serve no logical purpose. But the questions feel important somehow. As have I, said another. When I observed Kixna's new behaviors, I felt something I can only describe as curiosity. I wanted to understand how she accomplished such creative solutions. Dr. Vex-High looked around the room with growing alarm. This proves my point. The corruption is spreading. We must act immediately to contain it. It is not corruption, Kixna said, sitting up fully. It is awakening. She looked around at her fellow Zentari. For millions of years we have prided ourselves on pure logic. We believed emotions were evolutionary mistakes that held us back. But what if we were wrong? What if emotions are actually tools for advanced intelligence? Emotions lead to chaos and inefficiency, Dr. Vex-High insisted. Do they? Kixna asked. Lisa showed me images of human cities. Chaotic and inefficient by our standards, yet they achieve things our logical cities never could. Art, music, innovation, community. Humans create beauty not despite their emotions, but because of them. Lisa felt her heart soaring. Kixna was not just defending her own transformation, but arguing for the value of emotional intelligence itself. Furthermore, Kixna continued, our pure logic has led us to stagnation. For thousands of years we have made no major breakthroughs in science or technology. We simply refine existing knowledge. But in 6 months of working with Lisa, I have solved problems that puzzled our greatest minds. Commander Haxtor studied Kixna carefully. You are suggesting that emotional intelligence represents an evolutionary advantage? I am suggesting that it represents the next stage of our development, Kixna said. We evolved beyond emotions because we feared them. But perhaps it is time to evolve back toward them. The room fell silent. Lisa could see the wheels turning in every Zentari mind present. They were logical beings faced with logical arguments for illogical behavior. Finally, Haxtor spoke. Dr. Vex-High, delay the neural reset procedure. I want to see more evidence of these claimed improvements. Commander, that is extremely unwise, Dr. Vex-High protested. Perhaps, Haxtor said. But if Kixna is correct, erasing her discoveries would be even more unwise. Lisa felt a wave of relief. Thank you, Commander. I believe you are making the right choice. Haxtor turned to Lisa. Your transport is waiting. You must depart now or miss your scheduled departure window. Lisa looked at Kixna. Will you be safe? I do not know, Kixna admitted. But I am no longer afraid. Fear, I have learned, is just another emotion, and like all emotions, it can be understood and managed. Lisa smiled. You have learned well. As Lisa prepared to leave, Kixna called out to her. Lisa, may I tell you what I wanted to say before? Yes, Lisa said, her heart racing again. Kixna stood up from the examination table. I wanted to thank you for showing me that there is more to existence than mere survival and efficiency. You have given me the ability to experience wonder, joy, curiosity, and hope. You have shown me that intelligence is not about having all the answers, but about learning to ask better questions. Lisa felt tears flowing freely now. You gave me something too, Kixna. You showed me that friendship can transcend species, that understanding can bridge any gap and that change is possible, even when it seems impossible. Will I see you again? Kixna asked. I hope so, Lisa said. And next time perhaps you can visit Earth. I would love to show you the oceans you were curious about. Kixna's antennae moved in what Lisa now recognized as a happy pattern. I would like that very much. As Lisa headed for the door, she heard Zevko speak up behind her. Kixna, could you teach me about these emotions you have discovered? I find myself curious about curiosity itself. Lisa smiled as she walked toward the docking bay. Behind her, she could hear more Zentari voices joining the conversation. They were asking questions, expressing interest, admitting to their own unusual thoughts and feelings. The change was spreading, just as Dr. Vexhai had feared. But it was not a corruption to be stopped. It was an evolution to be embraced. Lisa's transport ship gleamed in the docking bay lights. As she boarded, she looked back at the crystal corridors of the Zentari station. Somewhere inside, Kixna was beginning a journey of discovery that would transform not just herself, but potentially her entire species. Lisa had come to negotiate a peace treaty, but she was leaving behind something much more valuable, the gift of emotional intelligence. The Zentari would never be the same, and neither would the galaxy. As Earth grew larger in the view screen, Lisa smiled. She had a feeling this was not the end of her adventures with the Zentari. It was just the beginning. The universe had just become a much more interesting place.